Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're taking a look at the top 10 video games that were killed by controversy. For this list, we're looking at games that were overshadowed by controversy, whether that was by their own doing or due to an outside force. Basically, it's almost impossible to talk about any of these titles without mentioning the controversy surrounding them. Did you get to play any of these titles? Share with us in the comments below. Number 10. Anthem. Honestly, it is really hard to talk about Anthem in any positive light unless you're someone who genuinely, thoroughly enjoyed what little the game had to offer. As if the mediocre gameplay and boring combat wasn't enough, the development of Anthem was its final nail in the coffin. There were reports of mismanagement, constant changes in direction and focus, and a lot of crunch time, causing the game to not even enter full development until 18 months before launch day. Despite efforts to try and improve the game through an update called Anthem Next, the update was eventually cancelled, making Anthem yet another broken $60 promise and disappointing what few fans the game actually had. Number 9. Star Wars Battlefront II. Don't worry, we're not about to have EA take up the majority of this list. However, Star Wars Battlefront II is more than deserving to be here on account of its original release date. After the beta was made available for those who pre-ordered, players quickly figured out that one could simply buy loot boxes in order to unlock powerful star cards for heroes and villains. As one would expect, this blew up to Alderaan levels, and EA became public enemy number one. While Battlefront 2 has certainly improved with an expanded roster of characters, new maps, and a reworked progression system and economy, it's still hard to forget what happened.
I won't stop you from destroying this vault. Wouldn't you say the Empire's done enough damage to innocent worlds?
Number 8. Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. We can recognize the dedicated community behind Crash Team Racing and its 2019 remake, but one thing we can all agree on is how Nitro-Fueled died so quickly. Online play was one of the game's biggest selling points, yet it could barely manage to keep things stable, with lobbies constantly getting destroyed mid-game and an economy that was unrewarding and grindy as hell. While Nitro-Fueled would last 8 seasons worth of additional content in less than a year's time, it wasn't uncommon to match up with players you already raced with a day or two prior. Clearly, no one was willing to tolerate the unstable connectivity, and with an obnoxious live service model taking priority over improving online modes, the game quickly died. Number 7. Dead Cells. To clarify, Dead Cells was never shrouded in controversy by its own doing. Developer Motion Twin actually made an exhilarating roguelike centered on frenetic combat, platforming, and speedrunning. Unfortunately, the game was overshadowed by an outside force. A reviewer at IGN named Philip Newson had been caught plagiarizing his review of Dead Cells and was found to have plagiarized several other reviews years prior. This controversy became so widely discussed within the gaming community that Dead Cells became synonymous with it. Thankfully, Dead Cells would find its own dedicated fanbase, but those ingrained with the game's news and media can't help thinking of Newson's trial whenever it's brought up. Number 6. The Sinking City.
Excuse me. Are you Robert Throgmorton?
I am, but not interested.
For an open-world game that didn't receive the same amount of attention as bigger titles, a lot of drama has surrounded the Sinking City, specifically between developer Frogwares and publisher Nacon, formerly Big Ben Interactive. In August 2020, Frogwares posted an extensive and detailed open letter to their community, explaining why the sinking city was being widely delisted. Turns out Nacon had failed to pay Frogwares on time on several occasions, violated IP rights, and conducted themselves unprofessionally. This feud between the two companies would bring some awareness to the sinking city, yet it's hard to not remind ourselves of the conflict that occurred.
Well, that's it for now, I think. Thanks for helping me get my bearings.
No. The pleasure was mine, Mr. Reed.
Number 5. Fallout 76.
When you say this, it means I've been gone for several hours.
Finally! I feared you'd
I've got
never wake up.
my own name out there in Appalachia.
Like a handful of other live services, Fallout 76 has seen some form of redemption, but even with its new updates, it's impossible not to picture all the headlines that generated post-launch. You know the ones we're talking about: game-breaking bugs, nylon bags, moldy power helmets, a pay-to-win economy, weak anti-cheat software, that Fallout first subscription for private servers, and, of course, the thousands of bugs and glitches that made the game almost unplayable. Controversy after controversy, Fallout 76 had managed to taint the franchise's reputation so much that it began to affect the public's perception of Bethesda as a business. All of a sudden, Battlefront 2 didn't look half bad.
Goodbye! Aloha! Ciao! Arrivederci! Au revoir! Auf Wiedersehen! Vaya con Dios! Buen viaje!
Number 4. Friday the 13th, the game. Regardless of its lack of polish and abundant technical problems, Friday the 13th proved to be a massive hit among the gaming community. So much so, the developer IllFonic began work on additional updates. Upon finishing the virtual cabin, players learned that an update based on Jason X was incoming, and it looked amazing. Unfortunately, the game's life was cut short due to a legal battle between franchise creators Sean S. Cunningham and Victor Miller. Because of this, IllFonic was forced to cease any and all work on the game, with the exception of general maintenance, and with no end to the lawsuit in sight, they decided to cancel all upcoming DLC. Who would have guessed that the one thing to kill Jason would be a legal dispute? Number 3. Cyberpunk 2077.
Which terrorist organization do you belong to?
Whether you loved or hated Cyberpunk 2077, there's no way to ignore the controversy that surrounds it to this day. At launch, the game was found to be incredibly unstable on base PS4 and Xbox One consoles, meaning you'd have to have a powerful PC, a PS5, or an Xbox Series X and S in order to properly enjoy the game. While stability and performance have improved since launch, it doesn't excuse the fact that CD Projekt had tried working the review process in their favor by focusing primarily on PC codes, sending codes out for consoles only 2 days before launch. Cyberpunk 2077 practically became overshadowed by the outrage towards it, and in the process, CD Projekt burned all of its goodwill. Number 2. Too Human. Too Human wasn't anything to set the world on fire, but it's decent in its storytelling, and the jankiness of it makes combat somewhat of a challenge. However, whenever we think of Too Human, we think of all those copies that had to be destroyed when it was originally launched in 2008. At that point, developer Silicon Knights was caught using an unlicensed version of the Unreal Engine for Too Human, as well as a few other titles. Even though the game would be re-released on Xbox One in 2019, Too Human is forever known as that one kid who got expelled.
And this must be Baldur. We definitely need to spend more time together.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Silent Hills. While controversies would plague the games we've seen on this list today, they were all able to launch and have some kind of lifespan. The same cannot be said for Silent Hills. As director Hideo Kojima was finishing up development on Metal Gear Solid 5, he found himself butting heads with upper management at Konami. When Kojima left the company, Konami attempted to expunge Kojima's name from Metal Gear Solid 5 and even outright cancelled Silent Hills. The famed PT demo was also pulled immediately from the PlayStation Store. In other words, a game literally died because of controversy.
You've been chosen.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.